And I was looking at my husband, and the next thing I know, I was looking down at my husband. And it was unclear at first. I said, I'm looking at myself. And I looked down at the bedroom scene, and all of a sudden I said, my God, I'm dead.
Because I could see my body from above.
The thing that amazed me was that as the pain became extremely severe, my breathing became far more shallow. And as I exhaled, I became very numb. And the more numb I became, I sort of just, without realizing it, zoomed out of my body like in a funnel fashion and just hovered over it. And I wasn't aware that I had left my body at that time. I was only aware that I wasn't in pain and that something was different.
And the only way I can describe my immediate feeling was, if you could describe or see or feel a smile or a complete contentment or happiness, that was it.
I was out of my body, and that I was no longer Vita. I did not have a gender whatsoever. There wasn't a back, front, or anything. I was shapeless, odorless, colorless, just something like an invisible gas of some sort.
I heard one of them speaking to the patient and saying their name. And I realized they were talking about me. And I thought, well, this is so strange. How can this possibly be them talking about me when I'm right here,
Popped out of my body, and I was able to look down, and I saw my body, and I saw it going further and further. I was going further and further away from my body.
And then the next thing I know, I was up in the corner of the hospital room looking at my body lay there.
I left my body at that moment. I could literally see me my body laying in the street. I could see that I wasn't alive anymore. I was bleeding, and my leg was sort of turned underneath me.
And I was up, and I don't know how I know direction, but I was up and off to the right, which was my right. And I was seeing the physical body, and I had no physical body. I just had the essence of me, who I am.
I saw myself there.
You saw yourself from above?
On the floor, face downwards. And I was thinking at the time, don't bother, boys. Don't leave me. I'm okay.
And I'm looking down on my body thinking, what on earth are you doing down there?
And suddenly found myself coming out of my body and coming to be still just underneath the ceiling and looking down in amazement at this form with all the tubes coming out of it.
I lost consciousness. The whole thing was just so frightening. And the next thing I knew, I woke up out in the hallway, and I looked up and down the hall, and I thought, if they catch me out here, I'm going to get into trouble. I'm supposed to be suspended in that bed. So I turned around and came back into the room and looked down into the circle bed and saw my body.
My inner man, the real me, my spirit, sat up out of my body, and I could feel my legs go through the springs of the bed.
Wow.
And my spirit came out of my body as if you would take a glove off your hand. And instantly, I was in a spiritual world. Instantaneously, I knew this was the real world.
And I'm out of my body, alive, looking, and I'm thinking.
You heard the heart machine go, the flat tone.
Yeah, and they run into my body, and I'm alive out of it.
And you hear a doctor say,
well,
he's
no,
gone.
no, but you can just tell that the way everything's happening, that I'm gone. And so I'm the next minute out of that hospital in complete darkness. So I'm grappling, did we have a power cut? Have the lights gone out, or have I died?
And it was just amazing to me. I watched them load me in the ambulance. I moved through the walls, and I'm watching the nails and the structure of how the house was built. And as I move into the walls, I come outside, and I see me, and the raindrops are hitting my face, and they're loading me in an ambulance. All of a sudden, I'm in this ambulance. Well, I'm behind the paramedic. I'm behind him, and he's working desperately on me. But I'd never been in an ambulance before. It was a truck. It wasn't like an ambulance like you see. It was a new style. It was a truck. And I was pretty amazed at all the neat little gadgets that they had in the ambulance. I wasn't really paying attention to what he was doing until he said, "He's gone. He's gone." And I remember looking over his shoulder and seeing myself and always thinking I was a much better looking guy than that.
cute.
Well, but it's what happened.
You're pretty
to me.
good looking, Danny.
But I was looking at that, and I had marks. I had no eyebrows, no fingernails. I had marks running down my neck and covering my body. The hair was burnt off of my body. And, you know, I said, wow, you're looking a little rough, Dan. This tunnel begins to form.